What's up, tricksters? My name is Charlatan. In today's video I will give you my personal agent tier list for the latest 1.0 patch notes, and I will try to explain you all the changes that came with the official Valorant release, on which things you should pay more attention, how to adapt, and how to gain advantage over the other Valorant players. Every agent will have two separate ranks. One rank is for SoloQ and the other rank is if you're playing with a full 5 premates team. So without any further ado, let's begin with Breach. Breach didn't have any changes at all. He still remains an amazing pick for both SoloQ and full stack scenario. He's a very versatile agent which you can play as an entry fragger or support, so it doesn't matter if you're aggressive or passive player, you can play him in both ways. In my opinion, he still deserves A rank in both SoloQ and full 5 team stacks. Brimstone also survived the Valorant release and he is still one of the best characters in the game so far. His utility allows him to be an amazing pick for your full 5 stack team, and at the same time you can use him in a SoloQ adventures as well and enter bomb sites alone. In my opinion, he still deserves an S rank for both SoloQ and team rank. Highly recommended and rewarding agent for the new players that are coming in Valorant. Cypher hasn't got any real nerfs this patch, but his camera spots have been greatly reduced on all of the Valorant maps. He is an intel agent that has only one purpose: to gain information about the enemy's position on map. He's mainly made for lurkers and 200 IQ players, so if you consider yourself smart enough, pick up Cypher. You might become the next challenger in Valorant. He was my main at the beginning of closed beta, but I personally didn't find a way to rank up effectively in SoloQ with this agent. So my SoloQ rank for Cypher still remains B, and team rank for Cypher is an easy S. If you have good teammates that know how to attack bomb sites in Valorant, you can play and dominate with Cypher on the defending side. But if you have boosted bonobos that have no clue how to attack, you will have a hard time entering the bomb sites alone, because the only two abilities that you have for attack with Cypher are your cyber cages and your personal skill. Next agent on my list is Jett, and she has received a bit of love in this patch notes. Her cloudburst smoke duration has been increased from 4 to 7 seconds, and now she is able to break Cypher traps with her dash ability. Right now I would consider the Jett an B tier agent for both SoloQ and team compositions. Her smokes are a bit more useful than before, but still she has nothing greatly to offer in terms of team play, and you can easily become a dashing potato. Moving forward on my list, we have my dear Raze. Raze has been my main agent in Valorant closed beta, and I reached the highest ranks of Valorant with her. She has a lot of kill potential and she is a very deadly pick for your enemies, but in terms of team play and team composition, she isn't that great, let's be honest. Her blast pack maximum damage radius has been reduced from 2 to 1 meters in this patch notes, but I personally didn't use this ability to kill my enemies that often. I use it much more for reaching a certain spots and surprising my enemies with my movement. I think Raze deserves an A rank if you're playing matches SoloQ and B rank if you're playing with your friends and team. On the other hand, we have Sage, the most picked agent in Valorant closed beta. Sage is the only agent in Valorant which is able to heal and revive her allies. She has been greatly nerfed in the 1.0 patch notes. Her healing orb cooldown has been increased from 35 to 45 seconds. Her barrier orb segment health has been reduced from 1000 to 800 health points. Her barrier orb duration has been reduced from 40 to 30 seconds. But even after all of these nerfs, she is still an overall S rank. There is no other support agent in Valorant that has abilities that are useful as her, thus she remains unbeatable Demon Queen. All of these changes don't even matter at a greater scale. In order to truly nerf this agent, they would have to fully rework her kit. And speaking of reworks, Omen has received quite a lot of changes this patch. His paranoia ability is now equipped instead of quick cast, and hit detection has been improved, especially at the close range. When using his dark cover ability, his smoke, Omen now enters a phaser world where he can see through walls to place his smokes, and pressing reload toggles between phased and normal targeting. Basically, you can place his smokes much more effectively, but with a higher risk that you are going to get killed while doing it. So you need to have a really good position awareness of your enemies. When using Shrouded Step ability, Omen now can see his teleport location on the map and receives an in-world indicator of where where he's targeting when his vision of the point is obstructed. And when using his ultimate ability from the shadow, Omen can now cancel his teleport while in shade form by pressing the ability key again. I think these changes are amazing for Omen players, and his abilities are much more friendly towards newcomers in Valorant. In my opinion, I would put Omen in an A tier for solo queue play and B tier for team compositions after this patch. Next agent on the list is Viper. She hasn't received any significant changes except bug fixes. In my opinion, Viper still remains B tier for solo queue play and an A tier for team play. Her smokes and abilities provide a lot of utility for her teammates, but in solo queue action, her kit still has a bit of flaws in my opinion. Phoenix has received quite a bit changes in this patch notes also. His blaze duration has been increased from 6 to 8 seconds. Curl max flash duration has been increased from 0.8 to 1.1 seconds, and Run It Back now automatically reloads all weapons on respawn. Phoenix has always been a great character for solo queue, and with recent patch notes, they have also brought him up a bit on my ladder in terms of team play. I would put Phoenix into A tier for both solo queue and team play in my opinion. This agent is really great and friendly to use for newcomers in Valorant. Second to last on our list is Sova. He is the second intel gathering agent in Valorant alongside Cypher, but contrary to Cypher, he has a lot more firepower and more movement restrictions when using his abilities. I would personally put Sova in B tier in solo queue and an A rank in team play at the moment. And the last agent on our list is the newest addition to Valorant, Reyna. I've been playing this agent a lot in the previous 24 hours, and I must say she is definitely going to be my second main agent from now on. I did an in-depth overview and guide of her abilities and how I think she's going to be played. She has amazing abilities for solo queue play, and her blind ability is extremely useful for both entering and holding bomb sites. She's definitely a bit more harder to use than Raze, and you need to be very thoughtful when and how to use her abilities. I would give her the same rank as Raze, A rank if you're playing matches solo queue, and B rank if you're playing with your friends and team. And that concludes my agents tier list for patch notes 1.0 in Valorant. So let's continue with other changes that Riot Games has made in this patch. They've also added sound visualization on the minimap, so you have a better understanding of what and when can enemies hear you run, reload or use your abilities. This can provide some useful information for newcomers in Valorant, and I'm really glad that they've made these changes. Now let's move towards the map updates. The new map comes straight from Bellissimo Italia, and it is called Ascent. The map looks amazing. It's a bit more claustrophobic with a lot of corners in which you can hide, but overall it feels like a good balance between Valorant and CSGO design. I have made an in-depth guide and overview of this map in my previous video, which you can watch right here. I try to help you learn the map faster and give you some overall idea and tips what you should be doing on this map and how to play it on both attacking and defending side. Now we have some really interesting split changes as well. The mid has been slightly redesigned to even the balance between attackers and defenders. In my opinion, this has been a much needed change because the mid control is mandatory if you want to attack any of the bomb sites on this map. I didn't have a chance to play it yet on a live server, but I can certainly tell that you will have to position your team differently and use the utility much smarter than before, especially if you're playing Sage or Brimstone on the mid area. And finally, they have also made a few optimization changes to all maps in Valorant, removed some bugs and fixed the exploits which allowed you to go outside of the play space with Omen and other agents. Unfortunately, they've said that competitive mode will not be available at launch, and my personal prediction is that we will see this mode live in 2 or 3 weeks from now. They've also said that they are making some adjustments to competitive play based on remaining closed beta player feedback. I really hope that one of the competitive changes will be introduction of solo duo queue and dynamic queue. Making those two queues separated will be much healthier and beneficial for the community and game in a long run, but so far they have no intentions of introducing this system. Even though I was able to achieve the highest rank in the game, the rank system for solo players was extremely punishing and not rewarding at all. Also, I would like to see some kind of a leaderboard for like top 100, top 200 players on servers, and above everything, give Russians goddamn communications. If Valve is able to do it in CSGO, Riot Games can also do it in Valorant. Regarding the performance updates, Riot Games claims that they've made significant changes in terms of FPS boost that you should be getting in Valorant. They've made combat performance changes and you should be getting more frames per second on all PCs and laptops from low end to high end. I personally experienced major frame boosts across all the Valorant maps and the game feels very smooth, but I don't know how these changes impacted the lower end specifications. Write me down in the comments how does Valorant feels right now for you in terms of FPS performance, and I'm most interested to know if you gained any FPS boost on Split, because that map had a major FPS issues even for the high end PCs. Now moving on to quality of life changes in Valorant. Main points to take from this part of patch note is that when you die from fall damage or self-killing, you won't receive an ultimate point. This has been done in order to prevent farming points and abusing the economy system. I think in future they will also add some kind of penalty for team killing in terms of economy or potential account restrictions, because Raze, Phoenix and some other characters might be used for abusement and griefing in this game. Also, they've added voice chat restrictions, so please, no toxicity, only positivity, my dear friends. All other changes are mainly graphic changes and nothing really important for our gameplay and destruction of our enemies. HUD and UI changes are also not that important in my opinion, but you can read them right here if you're interested in that. They've done a massive bug fixes in game, mainly for Cypher, Sova, Viper and Jett. Riot Games had a lot of problems with Cypher camera spots, but they are removing them effectively from patch to patch. And Viper has always been a problem with her smoke abilities, but they are also getting patched extremely fast. I would like to see in future some changes to her ultimate ability visuals, because they look terrible in my opinion and the spread is way too random. And yes, you can't wall ride anymore on her toxic thickness. I mean screen, toxic screen. But the main point that we should take from bug fixes is hit registration fix. Riot Games claims that they fixed hit reg problems and slight desyncs actions that they've had with the patch 0.5. I personally didn't experience the desync that they've mentioned, but hit reg was a huge problem coming to an end of closed beta. It was extremely noticeable and I must say right now it is much better than before, but I don't think it is 100% fixed. They still need to work a lot on their networking, servers, client issues, and in my opinion, in order to polish Valorant gameplay completely, they need to work much more on those things. But it is definitely much better than all of other FPS games that I've played, like PUBG or CSGO. And in my opinion, they are moving the game into the right direction and they are constantly listening to community feedbacks. They've also addressed a few of known issues that they will fix in the future patches regarding desyncs and packet loss problems. And on that note, overall patch notes and my impressions of the Valorant official release have ended. Right now we will end this video in a bit different way. I will reward you with one of the sick 1 vs 5 Reyna plays that I've made yesterday, since you watched the whole thingy-majig. Remember to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment and follow me on other social media for some future live streams and announcements. But right now, let's show them the power of the challenger player and the warden of the Valorant community with Reyna.
Nowhere to run! Spike planted. See nothing. Are mine. 3 souls. Last player standing. 1 enemy remaining.
That was sick, bro!